Hello everybody and welcome to math lesson 119. Guess what? We have 2 lessons left and 1 investigation and we are done. So today we're going to talk about something we talked about last week, but we talked about using ratio boxes and I kind of started showing you this concept. It's finding a whole when a percent is known. Okay, let's go down to the bottom of page 621. New concept. We have solved problems like the following using a ratio box. In this lesson, we will practice writing equations to help us solve these problems. 30% of the football fans in the stadium are waving team banners. There are 150 football fans waving banners. How many football fans are in the stadium in all? The statement above tells us that 30% of the fans are waving banners, and that number is 150. We will write the equation using T to stand for the total number of fans. Okay, so let's translate language into math. 30% of fans are waving banners. So we have 30%, we bring that down into our math equation. We know that of means times, right? Fans is our total number of fans, right? So we could say F or T for total. 30% times this number, F, we don't know what it is, R, waving banners, and we know that that number, waving banners, they tell us is 150. So 30% times F is equal to the 150 that are waving the banners. Okay, so now we have an equation that lets us solve for how many fans total are there in the stands. All right, so we go 30% times F is equal to 150. And this times, often what happens once we hit algebra, just gets erased, right? So we can turn our 30% into a decimal, which would be 30 over 100 is 3/10, right? So we have 3/10 F times F, right? When they're smooshed together, we always know that's multiplication, is equal to 150. Now, can we solve it? We absolutely can, right? We're going to divide by 0.3 to get F on one side of the equal sign by itself. So we divide both sides by 0.3. Now we have F is equal to 150 divided by 3/10. So we'll come up here a little bit and we'll do our division. 150 divided by 3/10. We know that we have to move our decimal over, don't we? We hop it over one spot because we can't divide by a decimal. It's crazy talk. And we know our rule is over, over, up. Put our decimal right there. 3 goes into 15 5 times. And then we bring down our zeros. And our answer is, there are 500 fans total, okay? Let's turn the page. They show us solving it with a ratio box, just to show that this is what we did before, right? And we can check our work that way if we want to. We don't have to, we can trust math, right? Yes, we can absolutely trust our math. Let's look at example 1. Erase so thoroughly, right? There we go. All right. 30% of what number is 120. Find the answer by writing and solving an equation. Okay, so we're gonna write it out. In English, 30% of what number is, to remember what it was, 120. So let's translate this now into a math equation. 30%, right, of is multiplication. What number is our variable? It's what we're looking for. We're solving for this. We can say n. Is means equals 120. We just bring that down, right? So let's write this into a nice, neat equation. 30% times n. This time I'll use the parentheses to show multiplication, is equal to 120. Now to solve it, we need to turn 30% into an integer, right, a number. So we know 30% is actually 3/10, right? 30 over 100 is 3/10. Times n is equal to 120. And we do the exact same thing that we did in the last problem, right? We try to get n on one side of the equal sign by itself. Since we're multiplying, we do the inverse operation. We divide by 0.3, or 3/10, on both sides. So now we have n is equal to 120 divided by 3/10. Let's go ahead and solve it. 120 divided by 3/10 will be equal to n, which will be our answer. So we'll move our decimal over one spot and put it up. So 3 goes into 12 4 times. We bring our zeros down and we end up with 400. So our answer is 30% of 400 is 120. Let's look at example 2. They show us modeling it too. I hope they don't ask you to do that. But if they do, just model it. Go along with them. At this point though, I want you to start getting really comfortable with using that algebraic expression, right, with the variable, and trying to solve that way instead of drawing the picture, okay? Next year is pre-algebra. You're really going to be relying on your algebraic expressions instead of drawing the model box. Okay, so 16 is 25% of what number? Let's translate this. Yeah, they say model with a sketch. We're not going to model with a sketch. We're going to focus on translating this into a math equation. Okay, so we have 16 is equals, right? 25% of means times what number? We can call that n, we can call it x, we can call it anything we want. We'll call it x this time. So we have the same problem, right? Except this time we've just flipped the variable to the other side of the equal sign. It doesn't matter, it's the same concept. So let's write it out all together. 16 is equal to 25% times x. Okay, we can't really do anything with a percent. We have to change it to a decimal number, which would be 16 is equal to 25 hundredths times x. All right, how will we solve this? We'll get the x, the variable, on one side of the equal sign by itself. Since we're multiplying x by 0.25 or 25 hundredths, we will do the inverse operation, which is division. So we'll divide each side, remember, by 25 hundredths. Okay, that leaves us with, that's just 1, right? So we have 1x is equal to 16 divided by 25 hundredths. Let's solve. So we have 16 divided by 25 hundredths. Whoa, we can't divide by a decimal number. We'll need to move our decimal over 2 places, right? We're multiplying by 100, moving the decimal over 2 places, and over, up. So 25 goes into 16 0 times. 25 goes into 166 times, right? That would give us 150. End up with 100. We'll bring our 0 down. 25 goes into 100 4 times. We have nothing left, so our answer is 64. So we can say 16 is 25% of what number? 64. We solved for it. All right, guys, let's work out the practice set. I want you to work the practice set problems. Okay, you can do them one by one. You can do them all together, and just unpause me, come back, see if you got the answers correct. I'm going to try not to explain. Instead, I'm just going to answer the practice set problems. However, if you're working one and you get super confused, please let me know. Okay? Send me a text, email me, call me. Okay? I'm happy to help walk you through the problem so that you can work it out. All right, so A, we have 20% of what number is X? 20% of what number is 120? All right. So there your answer should be 600. Now for B. Now we have 30 divided by 0.5, right, over, up, is 60. So your answer for B, whoops, should be 60. C, 25% of what number is 12? So we have 25% of n equals 12. 0.25 n is equal to 12. Divide each side by 0.25. N is equal to 12 divided by 0.25. Move over 2 decimal places. 2 decimal places. Up. Our answer is 48. Let me check. Yes, our answer is 48. 25% of 48 is 12. So D, 20% of 20, whoops, 20 is 10% of what number? So 20 equals 0.1 times n. So now we have 20 divided by 0.1. And we know we will just move our decimal over one spot. We end up with 1 goes into 200, right? We end up with 200. Okay, let's look at E. 12 is 100% of what number? Oh boy, if we just think about this one logically, we know that the answer is 12, right? 12 is 100% of 12. Let's translate though. 12 equals 1n. Okay, we know 1 is the same as n, so we get 12 is equal to n. Hooray! F. Tell us 15 is 15% of what number? 15 equals 0.15n or 1500ths n. We'll divide each side by 1500ths. So we know we're going to be shifting a decimal, huh? Okay, so we have 15 divided by 1500ths. Multiply each side by 100 so that we can perform our division. 15 goes into 15 one time with no remainder. So our answer is 100. Now it tells us on G, write and solve a word problem for the equation below. You can get creative with this one. Our equation is 15% times n is equal to 12. So we know that this will translate to 15% of a number is 12. Okay, so get creative and think about a word problem if you'd like. Otherwise, just know that that's how we translate this equation into English. All right, guys, let's see, we're on lesson 119. You will be using your new skills for number 10. Any others? That's it for number 10. However, I'm guessing you're going to practice it again in lesson 120. And you will definitely be practicing this skill next year in pre-algebra, all right? So guys, have a really good lesson. Do the written practice. Let me know if you have any questions at all because I'm really, really, really happy to help you, all right? You can text me, you can call me, you can FaceTime me, all right? You can ask me before a Zoom meeting. All right, guys, I'll see you later.